Hello, my name's Paul Borman. I'm an executive coach to some of the most senior people in the world and a business psychologist. In this online program, I'll share with you some of the common issues that my clients bring to me and the advice that I give them to help overcome these issues. There'll be written exercises to complete, and most importantly, actions to take back in your workplace. There are probably some things that you're doing at the moment that you're very good at, have been doing for years, but deep down you know that really someone more junior should be doing it instead. So maybe you've bitten the bullet and handed it over. You see me do it, so why don't you go? Then, right before the deadline, when they bring you the work, it is nowhere near the standard that you would have produced. Time is short, so you have to clear your schedule, wade in and save the day, thinking to yourself, I'd love to delegate, but I'm clearly the only one that can do this. Does that sound familiar to you? To help people kind of get round this issue, I get them to think about how you might teach a child to ride a bike, or how you might teach a child to swim. You don't go up to them and say, look, here's how you ride a bike, now off you go and play in the traffic. You don't say, look how well I swim, now in you go in the deep end, you should swim too. There are stages that you take between the explaining and letting them do it for themselves. But all too often, in a leadership position, people think they can just say, this is what you have to do, and then expect the person to do it without any kind of help and development in between. So let's think of that example of teaching someone to ride a bike. Of course, the first bit might well be you demonstrating how safe it is to ride a bike and explaining the principles. But we all know that the next stage, you're holding on to the bike while the child pedals. Similarly, in swimming, you're supporting the child in the water as they take their first few strokes. We then know there's also a bit where we take our hands off, but we keep our eyes on, because the child isn't yet confident enough to cycle or swim on their own. We stay and watch until we are sure that they're competent, and only then do we let them go. These same 4 stages are necessary when we're handing over a task to others and delegating. We can't just tell and then leave them to it. We need to invest time in doing it with them, holding them up. We need to invest time in keeping our eyes on when they are going alone to give them the reassurance and yourself the reassurance they're doing it well. And only when you've gone through those 2 more time-consuming stages are you able to fully delegate. If you're somebody who likes to read and you want to learn more about the process of delegation, why don't you take a look at Ken Blanchard's book, The 1 Minute Manager? Let's recap on those 4 stages, and maybe I'll use as an example the delegation of, say, preparing a paper that's going to go to board. Stage 1, show and tell. At this point, you need to be able to show the person how you prepare a board paper. Tell them why you're doing what you're doing. And they're simply observing and listening to your approach. The second stage, holding them while they try this. And what does that mean? In practice, it means that you will work on the next board paper together. You will co-write it. You will design it in conjunction with one another. They won't need to make the decisions on their own, but they'll be part of the decision. You'll be giving them lots of feedback and advice and guidance as you go. The third stage, don't hold, but stay close. At this stage, you're not going to be doing it with them. They're going to be doing it alone, but you'll probably check in with them very regularly. You won't wait till the deadline and then say, let me see what you've done. Instead, you'll check in more regularly. How are you going? Have you gathered the data you've needed? Let's see what you've got so far. And at this point, it's very important to be quite encouraging and supportive and give feedback and build the person's confidence that they're heading in the right direction. If they're not, of course, you might need to go back to stage 2. But ideally, you're always moving people a little bit more forward in the process until you can finally get to stage 4. When you've confidently seen them do the process 2 or 3 times, you can probably then relax and assume that the delegation is complete and they can do it without your help. Now the trick is to use the right stage with the right people. If you're too far along the process with somebody, if you're letting people go it alone and they're not yet ready, mistakes will be made. But equally, it's possible to go too slowly through the process. You might keep on showing and telling somebody how to do something, in a way that frustrates them because they know that they can do it quite well for themselves. So now I'd like you to pick 2 or 3 people that you're trying to delegate something to and work out what stage you need to be at with that person. Are you still explaining? Are they doing it with your help? Or are they doing it alone with your watchful eye and encouragement every step of the way? Or are they safe and confident to go it alone? Use the space provided in the worksheet to make these notes and then start the process of tailoring your style to their needs. You'll find a reminder of the 4 stages of delegation in your worksheet, so don't forget to identify the first person to whom you're going to start to apply this principle. Once you've done that, you can extend it to the rest of your team.